Welcome back to the first episode of At the Table with NEA-Alaska for the 21-22 school year. I know that the start of the year isn't exactly what we'd all hoped for, but across Alaska, we're back in our schools with our students doing exactly what we love, teaching and supporting our young people to the very best of our abilities. I want each and every one of our members to know that you are never alone. If you're having a hard time or even a tough day, we're here to support you, lift you up, and get you the help you need. I'd also like to thank you for the work you do every day and recognize your contributions to our public schools. Recently, I had the opportunity to sit down with a teacher who exemplifies what it means to be an educator. Her name's Kelly Shrein, and she's a homegrown Alaskan, and in May, she was recognized as the 2022 Alaska Teacher of the Year. Let's check it out. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. What an honor. We're glad to be able to celebrate with you. But we're hoping to have a little interview and so that our members can get to know you a little bit better. And so thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, so can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background, how'd you come into education, that sort of thing?
Sure. So I was born and raised here in Anchorage, Alaska. Went through ASD all through my education career. I went to UAA and got my bachelor's degree at UAA. And
so Alaska grown.
Alaskan grown, born and raised. My roots are planted deep here. I love it. It's home. How I got into the teaching career or the teaching profession, there's a couple of reasons that I think influenced me to do that. My mother taught with ASD for 30 years, high school math. And so I got to grow up and see her hard work and dedication to educating our youth. Another reason that I decided to become a teacher was because when I was in kindergarten, my kindergarten teacher made me put my nose against the wall for talking out of turn. And I remember my nose being up against the wall and thinking, I'm going to grow up and be a better teacher than she is right now. And I mean, I know I was young and I don't remember, she probably was an amazing teacher, but I just remember thinking, I want to make a difference and I don't want to embarrass my students the way that my teacher had embarrassed me.
I'm sorry that you had that experience, but the fact that you got here and are not only a teacher, but the 2022 Alaska Teacher of the Year, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
So you want to tell us a little bit about where you teach and your students?
Sure. I currently teach at Chinook Elementary School, and I am teaching a first and second grade combo class. It's different from, a lot different than teaching fifth grade, but I love it, and the students are amazing, and they're so honest and open and sweet, and as long as I just have a classroom full of kids to love, I don't mind what grade it is, and I'm having a wonderful time.
So tell us what it is that you like best about teaching.
Oh, there are so many things. I love those relationships that I can make with every student. I love seeing their faces every day. Being in a career where I can wake up every morning and truly be excited to go to my job is something that's very special. And I love being with them every day. I love talking to them, our little conversations. I love being able to, their minds are sponges, really, at any young elementary age. And I love seeing their eyes light up when they learn something new. It's an amazing feeling that I help them learn something new and that maybe I could be an adult that makes a difference in their life.
Well, it's clear that you have a passion for teaching, and I can just hear in your voice your enthusiasm, and I'm sure your students pick up on that as well. And so I wish I had you as my elementary teacher, but the past 18 months have been pretty tough, I'm sure. I know it was in a previous school with a little bit different group of kids, but can you tell us how maybe it was different teaching during a pandemic? How did you still reach your students, engage with them, and develop those relationships that you're talking about that are so important?
Absolutely. I firmly believe that student-teacher relationships don't end when the school day ends. And student-teacher relationships don't end because COVID shut down schools. I didn't get to say goodbye to any of my students. We didn't have any forewarning that was going to happen, and I had such a strong relationship with all of my students that I couldn't just leave it at that. You know, it wasn't going to be the end of the year for me. It wasn't going to be, oh, sorry, the pandemic has shut our schools down and I'm done with you. Maybe I'll see you next year in the hallways. Absolutely not. So what I did was originally I had written "I miss you" on a big white poster board, and just a week or two after COVID shut schools down, I drove around to each of their homes with parent permission and stayed at a distance and held a sign out of my car window and said, "I miss you. Please read Where the Red Fern Grows," because we hadn't finished that together. Please finish it. You know, stay in touch. These are ways that we can stay in touch together. I'll call you. I will write postcards. I'll email your parents. Things like that, and continue building onto that relationship. And I had a lot of students who didn't have an adult that was consistent always in their day-to-day life, and I felt like as one of the only consistent adults in their life that I couldn't stop that relationship. I had to continue seeing them, and a lot of them were scared and nervous, and I wanted them to see a familiar face.
So coming back to school this year, it's been in person from the beginning, but you transitioned from another school to the one you're currently at. How's that been? You're in a new environment, new grade, new school, with new expectations. Kids are doing well?
I think the kids are doing very well, and I think that they're just as happy as the adults are to be back in the classroom. I mean, things are still kind of the same. Procedure-wise, with hand washing, our masks are still on. We do have barriers up when we're eating lunch, but it feels like things are starting to get back to normal. I can elbow bump my children. I can give them foot bumps and say hello. I feel like we don't have to fully be 6 feet apart right now, and I feel like we're back to group activities and just washing the items that we share after, and it feels good to be starting to get back into the normal routine. And transitioning from one school being a 5th grade teacher to another school being a 1st and 2nd grade combo teacher, it's been a really interesting experience.
And what were the two schools again? Remind me.
I was at Northwood Elementary School last year, and then this year I'm at Chinook Elementary School. It's my neighborhood school, and I have 3 children of my own, and I want to be mom to them and be around while they're still little, and that was the main reason for the transfer. But everyone at the school has been amazing. The children are still amazing, and they're needing, and they're loving, and they're honest, which is a good and bad thing at 1st grade age. But I'm enjoying it very much, and I honestly believe that if I just have a classroom of students to love at any age, then I'm happy.
So you have an entire year to be the Alaska Teacher of the Year. Do you have any particular goals and things that you want to accomplish during that time?
I would just really like to be a teacher that other educators feel they can come to and ask for advice. I want to be a role model for other adults in my school and in the district with how to connect with students and their families. And I really want to listen. I want to do a lot of listening to other teachers, hear their worries, hear their concerns, or hear what's going well. And I want to be able to share that and be a voice where their voices can be heard. So I'm still taking it all in. I'm still trying to understand what this new title means for me, but I'm really excited and really willing to listen and learn a lot this year and share my experiences.
So can you tell us about a lesson that you have or an activity maybe that you've done with your students that you found they connected with particularly well?
One of the activities that I especially liked was a Jelly Belly geology activity that I did with my students, and students would have different types of Jelly Bellies, and they would have a key where they would have to...
Do they get to eat them?
At the end, they were able to eat them, but they couldn't share because of COVID regulations and everything.
Right.
But they were able to find which kind of flavor the Jelly Bellies were based on their color, and if they were translucent or opaque, and if they had spots on them, and they loved it because at the end it would tell them their flavor, and then they would be able to be scientists and see if they were correct or not. And then of course I would walk around and saying, you want to be a rock star? Let's get hyped. There's 3 different rocks. You want to know every type. There's igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. You got to study them all. Don't forfeit. You want to be a rock star. And of course it's cheesy, and they're 10 and 11-year-olds, but they remember it and they loved it. So that was a really fun lesson that I did with them, and hopefully they still remember the 3 types of rocks.
That's fantastic. I'm a social studies teacher, and I can't help but remember from when I was a kid, I'm just a bill, only a bill, right? So those things stick with us. So, can you think of a time over your career where the union, being a union member, has had a particular impact on your teaching?
Absolutely. My first year teaching was an especially hard year for me. I was learning, I was new, I was a kindergarten teacher, and I needed support and I needed help, and I was able to call the union, and they came in and they spoke with me, and they had my back and they supported me, and I don't think that I would be here and be the teacher that I am without the union support.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, that's what we try to do. We try to be here for our members. Are there any advice or message or last other things that you want to tell our members that are out there watching?
Yeah, I would just say continue to teach from the heart. And I know that teaching is really hard and we have to stick with timelines and curriculums, and there's not enough ever in the day to teach everything or get everything done that you want to. But don't forget why you started teaching. Don't forget that passion that you have for the kids and education. And it's okay to throw a little of things in from your heart, and just keep that passion and continue connecting with your students and their families especially, and especially during these hard times. It's really important to remember that school day may end, but you still have students that go home and think about you and love you and may really need you. So just continue to keep your light shining for education.
Absolutely. We always want to be keeping our students' needs front and center in everything we do. Well, thank you. That is so uplifting. You've inspired me. I hope you've inspired the members who are listening. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was an honor.
Best of luck in your year as Teacher of the Year, and
Thank you.
we'll be seeing you around the block for sure.
Thank you so much.
Wow, it's abundantly clear to me that Kelly has the passion, energy, and the talent to represent all Alaska educators as the 2022 Teacher of the Year. I'd like to thank Kelly and all the Teacher of the Year finalists for going the extra mile for their students. You are truly an inspiration to us all. In the coming weeks, we're going to be covering several important topics right here at the table, but we'd also like to hear questions directly from you so that we can understand how your year is going, what support you need from NEA-Alaska, or simply what's bringing you joy right now. If you have any of the above, please add them to the comments below or simply shoot me an email at tom.claymire@neaalaska.org. It's great to be back with you this school year. I hope you're well, and I'll see you right back here soon at the table.